All right, Shalom. First off, I'm going to start off by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachakodash. Yahweh being the Heavenly Father's true name, Yahweh Shai being the name of His only begotten Son. Double honors unto the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone who rule well and teach well. Peace, blessings, and salutations to all you walking throughout the four corners of the earth, continuing to push and do the works in truth and in sincerity. All right, this is the brother Masha Mayum, one of the men here with the GMS branch out here in the morning camp. Here with another quick lesson through the spirit and pretty much going into this lesson was inspired off of a challenge, that a brother put in our group meet, and basically dealing with, a lesson that you learned from our forefathers, all right, and basically dealing with, the account in Job, and I'm gonna read it, and Lord's will as we go on from there, and I expound it makes sense, but this is Job chapter 1, starting at the top, and it reads, "There was a man in the land of Uz whose name was Job, and that man was perfect and upright, and one that feared the Most High and eschewed evil." Shalaki. So it's saying Job was an upright man. Okay, and it said he eschewed evil, right? Verse 2, "And there was born unto him 7 sons and 3 daughters. His substance also was 7,000 sheep, and 3,000 camels, and 500 yoke of oxen, and 500 she asses, and a very great household, so that this man was the greatest of all the men of the East." Okay, so he was rich, okay, he was wealthy, right? Verse 4, "And his sons went and feasted in their houses, every one his day, and sent and called for their 3 sisters to eat and to drink with them. And it was so, when the days of their feasting was gone about, that Job sent and sanctified them, and rose up early in the morning, and offered burnt offerings according to the number of them all. For Job said, It may be that my sons have sinned, and cursed the Most High in their hearts. Thus did Job continually." Okay, showing you how righteous he was. Okay, he made sure, to offer a sacrifice, for his sons and his daughters. Okay, in fear that they might have sinned. Right. Verse 6. "Now there was a day when the sons of the Most High came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan came also among them." Right. So showing you once again, the Lord's in control of all spirits. Okay, like this, like the scriptures say. All right. He's the father of spirits. Right. Um, Verse 7, "And the Lord said unto Satan, Whence comest thou? Then Satan answered the Lord and said, From going to and fro in the earth, and from walking up and down in it." Okay, so once again, basically, he's taking orders from the Lord. Okay, he's doing his job. All right, and this is the insight, that we get through these scriptures. Right. Verse 8, "And the Lord said unto Satan, Hast thou considered my servant Job, that there is none like him in the earth, a perfect and an upright man, one that feareth the Most High and escheweth evil?" Okay, so it was the Lord, referred Job unto Satan. Okay, did you consider him? Right, and once again, like brothers say, okay, we can insert ourselves there. All right. Then Satan answered the Lord and said, Doeth Job fear thee for naught? Hast not thou made an hedge about him, and about his house, and about all that he hath on every side? Hast thou blessed the work of his hands, and his substance is thou hast blessed the work of his hands, and his substance is increased in the land. Okay. So he's like, he only fears you because of the substance and the riches that he has, that you blessed him with. Right. And that's another thing, key on the thing to understand too. Quick point to add on, we want to be in the mind to serve the Lord even when we have everything and when we don't have everything, right? Not that because, not only because you're comfortable and you're up, and you're doing good, right? The Lord is blessing you, okay? And then it's easy to serve the Lord, but when you're down and you're going through things, right, then, it's like you shun away and you don't want to serve the Lord. Well, that's not how we want to be, right? Verse 11, "Put forth thine hand now and touch all that he hath, and he will curse thee to thy face. And the Lord said unto Satan, Behold, all that he hath is in thy power, only upon himself put not forth thine hand. So Satan went forth from the presence of the Lord." Okay, so we got that go ahead and test Job. All right. And he does that, you know, he tests them in the Lord in different ways, okay? He's doing his job once again, right? You know, um, verse 12, and the Lord said unto Satan, behold, all that he had, verse 13, and there was a day when his sons and his daughters were eating and drinking wine in their eldest brother's house. And there came a messenger unto Job and said, the oxen were plowing and the asses feeding beside them. And the Sabaeans fell upon them and took them away. Yea, they have slain the servants with the edge of the sword, and I only am escaped alone to tell thee. While he was yet speaking, there came also another and said, the fire of the Most High is fallen from heaven, and hath burnt up the sheep and the servants and consumed them, and I only am escaped alone to tell thee. Okay? So we started catching that affliction, all right? You know, his substance was touched, all right? Okay? And that's how it's going to be a lot of times. You know, it can be like that for us a lot, right? Your car might break down, okay? You might become broke, all right? You might not have been prepared, and a sudden transaction, you know, hit your account, okay? And now you're on negatives, right? It could be many different situations, you know, to where, you know, the Lord will test you, right? Verse 16, verse 17, while he was yet speaking, there came also another and said, the Chaldeans made out 3 bands and fell upon the camels and have carried them away, yea, and slain the servants with the edge of the sword, and I only am escaped alone to tell thee. While he was yet speaking, there came also another and said, thy sons and thy daughters were eating and drinking wine in the eldest brother's house, and behold, there came a great wind from the wilderness, and smote the 4 corners of the house, and it fell upon the young men, and they are dead, and I only am escaped alone to tell thee. All right. So only not upon Job, but the Lord even allowed Satan, you know, to take his sons and his daughters. Okay, but just not upon himself, right? You know, and many different brothers, you know, can attest and probably have went through similar things, you know, where you had loved ones that have passed away, right? Of course, it's all the will of the Lord, okay, but as we can see this account here, okay, some things, you know, can challenge your mind, right? Of course, once again, like I said, it's all the will of the Lord, right? The issues of death belong unto the Lord, you know. But verse 20, then Job arose and rent his mantle and shaved his head and fell down upon the ground and worshiped and said, naked came I out of my brother's womb, and naked shall I return thither. The Lord gave, and the Lord hath taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. In all this, Job sinned not, nor charged the Most High foolishly. Okay? And that's the main point, you know, that I wanted to focus on. It said what? Verse 20 to 22, you know, he showed humility, okay? He showed humbleness, right? In that the fact, verse 22, it says, in all this, Job sinned not, nor charged the Most High foolishly. And that's the main point I wanted to take out. Okay, it's not charging the Most High foolishly, all right, just because you're in a situation or, you know, things are uncomfortable for you, right? Your substance might have been taken away, okay? It's basically just understanding what the will of the Lord is, being patient, okay? And, you know, like that proverb says, always acknowledging the Lord, okay? Because let's go to Sirach chapter 2, and it's starting at the top. And it reads, my son, if thou come to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation, set thy heart aright, and constantly endure, and make not haste in time of trouble. Okay, so it clearly tells you, prepare, all right, thy soul for temptation. So you're going to get tempted, all right? You're going to go through different things, you know? But it says, set thy heart aright, and constantly endure, and make not haste in time of trouble. So you don't want to make haste, right, in different situations, and you just start thinking rationally and doing what you want, all right? And that's the main driving point home, you know, of this lesson, is basically not making haste, all right, when the Lord brings, you know, whatever he decides to upon you, right? But simply acknowledging and first and foremost, you know, praying to the Lord, you know, to understand what it is he wants you to understand in the situation, right? Verse 3, cleave unto him and depart not away, that thou mayest be increased at thy last end, right? So cleave onto him, you know, fast, humble thyself, pray to the Lord, do what you got to do, right? But cleave unto the Lord. So continue to pray unto the Lord, okay? And it says that thou mayest be increased at thy last end. Verse 4, whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully and be patient when thou art changed to a lower state, right? So plain and simple, you want to take it cheerfully and be patient when thou art changed to a lower state, okay? Because a lot of the times, that can, charging the Most High foolishly can be you being impatient, you questioning the Lord, getting mad at the Lord, okay? And you don't have to say it directly, but it can be shown in your actions, right? Damn, I'm in this situation, man. I'm just go ahead and do this, okay? And, I'm only doing this lesson because, like the brother's challenges, what's a lesson you learned? And it's something, that I had to acknowledge myself on. Once again, not saying I, directly spoke against or, questioned the Lord, but, I feel like it was, that was the case within my actions and different things that, the Lord put me through, right? Because ultimately the Lord, like the scripture say, the Lord bring it down and he lift it up. So ultimately you want to go to the Lord to understand, what you are to do in the situation, right? From here, let's go to Ecclesiastes chapter 5 and verse 2, and it reads, be not rash with thy mouth, and let not thine heart be hasty to utter anything before the Most High. For the Most High is in heaven, and thou upon earth. Therefore let thy words be few. Okay? But it says, be not rash with thy mouth. Okay? So you might murmur, okay, you might say, or whatever the case may be, okay? Or even in prayer, is you pray, and it's already just, Lord, give me this to get out of the situation, instead of asking, okay, Lord, what do you want me to understand in the situation? Right? And that can be being rash as well. From here, let's go to Isaiah chapter 55 and verse 8. Isaiah chapter 55 and verse 8, and it reads, for my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, saith the Lord. For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts. Okay? So that's another thing to understand too. The Lord can be doing things, his way, okay, ultimately for a greater purpose. And you might not understand it at that time, but ultimately it's, like the scripture says, for your better, right? Because let's get that real quick. In Romans 8 and verse 28, and it reads, and we know that all things work together for good to them that love the Most High, to them who are called according to his purpose, okay? So whatever situation you might be in, or that the Lord brought upon you, right? Well, we got to keep this in mind, that as long as I'm his servant and I'm called and I'm serving him in truth and in sincerity, then we got to understand that, okay, I know eventually it'll work, is going to work out for my better, okay? The Lord's not doing it to destroy you, but he's simply doing it for your betterment, okay? He might be bringing you, testing you, strengthening you, opening your eyes to a situation that you can be better at, and many different things, and ways that he's making you better. All right. From here, let's go to the book of Ephesians, chapter 5. I want to get this in the blue letter too. This is Ephesians chapter 5 and verse 17, and it reads, wherefore be ye not unwise, but understanding what the will of the Lord is. Right? And let's read it in the NLT. It says, don't act thoughtlessly, but understand what the Lord wants you to do. Okay? So it said, don't act thoughtlessly, and that you can react in a thoughtless way when different situations are brought upon you. Okay? Because you don't like the situation, or you're uncomfortable, right? You can act thoughtlessly and not understand what the will of the Lord is. That's why you want to pray to the Lord, okay? And Pray to the Lord, Lord, what do you want me to see and understand in the situation? You know? From there, let's go to let's end it off with Psalms 34:19. Jumping down to Psalms chapter 34 and verse 19, and it reads, "Many are the afflictions of the righteous, but the Lord delivereth him out of them all." Okay? So plain and simple, we gotta understand this, no matter what, the Lord is gonna still deliver you out of whatever affliction it is you're going through. All right. So that's the main point. Just be patient in different situations and understand what the will of the Lord is and what he wants you to do. All right. That's the main focus point of this lesson is don't charge the Lord foolishly and understand what he wants you to do. Right. And that's the point. Giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakakudash. Double honors unto the elders and the apostles of great millstone who grew well and teach well. Peace, blessings, and salutations to all you walking throughout the four corners of the earth, continuing to push and do the works in truth and in sincerity. Shalom.